Hey guys, welcome back to Miniature Mashup. Today I want to talk about a recent announcement I read on a Facebook group I belong to about Warhammer 40k. In the announcement it said Necromunda is coming back, so I'm very excited about it. Let's take a look at what that is. Okay, I see orcs and I see space marines. This is not Necromunda. God damn it, you f***ed it up, Games Workshop, you f***ed it up.
D&D is morally deficient.
Dungeons and Dragons.
It's spiritually corrupt. It is educationally evil because it teaches evil, and it is potentially dangerous.
Mazes and monsters are far out gate.
Now I am making your silver pants blue.
Alright, so the reason I'm making this video is because Necromunda, hands down, is my favorite Games Workshop game. I mean, I got this baby right here. You can see she's a little beat up because I got it about when the game first came out. I was maybe a little late to the party, but not by much. And it is fantastic. Necromunda is the skirmish tabletop game set in Games Workshop's Dark Millennium. Like 40k, the setting and background is rich and full of story hooks. Unlike 40k, it isn't simply a sci-fi retelling of Lord of the Rings. Necromunda is an industrial world where giant factories spew out gear and war machines of the Empire, and it's everyone lives in a big hive. It's like a giant mechanical mountain, and 6 royal houses kind of jockey for power underneath the ruling house Ulanti, and they're constantly trying to one-up each other, you know, and each one has its own specialization, such as the lumbering slag workers of House Goliath or the tech-savvy Van Saar. But factory work isn't for everyone, and sometimes groups of young people in these houses, they strike out to the lower parts of the hive where things are kind of rough and forgotten. They try to make it as a gang, and gangs in Necromunda aren't like street gangs of today. They're these sort of quasi-legal enterprise. They're almost ranchers, you know. They take hold of these wild and untamable areas and they sort of work them for profit, and it's actually kind of seen as a sort of a noble profession. Now, that's the bare bones of the basics of it. There's a lot more flavor and gameplay that goes into it, and I'm going to go into that shortly. And it's also why this new iteration that they're giving us, the Shadow War Armageddon, is sort of missing the point of the original. I guess there's some spoilers here. This new game, Shadow War Armageddon, isn't supposed to be the new Necromunda. Apparently they're just saying it has Necromunda-style rules so that people like me who love Necromunda might get on board as well. But it's clearly just a new type of a rule set. 40k kill teams. That's, you know, small skirmish-style battles. And I guess instead of just trying to do that with the 40k rules, which isn't probably perfect for that, you use the Necromunda rules, which are a little more set for battles that size. But here's the thing. The stuff that made the original Necromunda great wasn't the combat. And don't get me wrong, the combat system was fun. It's fine, but you can find that kind of skirmish combat rules in lots of games. It's not really unique to Necromunda. What made Necromunda awesome was what happened after the battles, and sometimes before. What made Necromunda great was the ability to take this sort of gang of upstarts with very little experience and turn them into a well-oiled, well-armed killing machine, and just, you know, you would fight for territories, and you would farm those territories, make money, buy better gear. You could find ancient technologies, and it's not that some of this other 40k stuff like orcs and cultists aren't in the original Necromunda. There were certainly rules written later, putting out in Necromunda magazine, where you could have all this stuff. So if you like, you know, the greater 40k universe was definitely reflected in Necromunda. There was a narrative. It was almost an RPG. As your guys got experience, you could have a juvenile member of the gang, which is sort of the lowest ranking gang. It's like someone sort of earning their stripes. And through using him in battle and through luck and skill, he could actually rise up and become your new gang leader. He might actually challenge your gang leader in the game. There was so many elements of development. You guys, at the after battle, they could take their credits, they could go down to the black market, they could buy combat drugs and bring those into the next fight. They could find all kinds of weapons that you're not going to see Space Marines using, and you know, weapons and tactics, this sort of dirty fighting, that's just not going to come across because it's heresy. The charm and the fun of Necromunda wasn't just skirmish battles. That was just a very small part of it. And the other thing was bartering with your foes. After you've played a battle with someone, if you captured one of their enemies, even if you didn't, you could still have a sit down with them, which is, you know, the equivalent of the two gang leaders talking, because again, they're not, it's a pseudo, you know, legal thing. They're on the same kind of playing field, and you could trade equipment. You could trade for that prisoner. You could buy him back. You could ransom off prisoners and things like that. You could trade territory. You know, so none of that's going to come into play with this new Necromunda. And the downside of that is people will play this Shadow War Armageddon and think they've had the Necromunda experience. That's what I'm afraid of. I don't want new players to sit down, play this, and go, well, that was okay, but I guess I don't ever need to look into Necromunda. No, please look into Necromunda. I think of the sort of trinity of skirmish games that came out around that same time: Gorka Morka, Mordheim, and Necromunda. Necromunda is by far the strongest. I mean, it's not even comparable. The other two. I mean, I think Gorka Morka is pretty similar, except it has orcs, but, you know, I don't think the world and the fluff fits as well, and I think you're more invested in human gang fighters. And, oh god, the other things that you could do, there were hired guns. You could hire mercenaries to fight in your gangs, which, again, you're not going to see Necrons or cultists or Space Marines doing. You could hire psychers to join your gang. There were special characters that you could try to enlist into your battles. If you're going up against a type of enemy they hated, you know, you had a better chance of getting them in. There's just so much. There's so many fun things. There's so many fun skills your characters can acquire, and it's just, like I said, it almost borders on a role-playing game. It's like you take except that instead of a character, you have a gang, and that's the best part. And I don't think you're going to see that in the Shadow War Apocalypse, because I don't even see a slot for experience. I don't see a slot for gear or injuries. I think everything's pretty standard. I don't even see a place for names on the new sheet. What I do see is it says battles fought. So I guess if you get that fighter through a couple battles, he probably gets some perks. Maybe he gets to reroll leadership tests or something. I'm sure it's nothing great. I'm sure it's very bland and generic. Now, that being said, I'm not just trying to crap on this new Shadow War Apocalypse. I'm probably going to pick it up because it looks like it's going to be supported, and any kind of a GW skirmish game is great. If anything where you don't need an entire army and you still get to play in that setting with their rule sets and stuff, you know, depending on the price, if it's going to have I mean, I'm hoping it's reasonable. That looks like a lot of terrain, and if that really jacks the price up, maybe I'll just flip it, because I don't need all that terrain. I don't need to put their stuff together, so maybe I'll take everything out of the box I don't want and just put it right back on eBay and try to minimize the price, but probably just hold on to the orcs, because I do have an orc force. Yeah, anyway, I will give that a try, and you know, I'm not saying you shouldn't, but just keep in mind, this is the best game. This is the only Necromunda that you need. The Shadow War Armageddon is not going to be the same product. That's Dave for Miniature Mashup. Just a quick lazy reaction video today. I've got another one coming right behind this, so stay tuned to this channel. I'll see you guys later. Bye.